Welcome to Math Movies with Miss Feuer-Beck and Miss Veluti. Today you'll be learning, what is order of operations? Now here is a problem that I'd like you to try and solve. Some of you might have thought that the answer was 42, and perhaps this is how you solved. You did 4 plus 3 equals 7, and then you did 7 times 6 equals 42, and got your answer as 42. However, some of you might have been thinking that the answer was 22. Maybe you multiplied 3 times 6 and got 18, and then did 4 plus 18 equals 22. Confusing, right? Is the answer 42 or is it 22? Well, how do we know? This is why we have to have order of operations. And order of operations is a procedure or set of rules that mathematicians created to help solve problems that contain multiple operations. We're going to come back to this problem at the end of this video and talk about what the correct order would have been. Here is the steps to order of operations. First, you need to perform operations within grouping symbols first. And important to remember is that you need to still follow the order of operations inside these. So what are grouping symbols? Grouping symbols are parentheses, brackets, and braces. And parentheses are the innermost, brackets are the next one, and braces are the outermost grouping symbol. Next, you need to multiply and divide in order from left to right. And finally, you need to add and subtract in order from left to right. Here is an easier way to remember the order of operations. It's a mnemonic device, PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. If you can remember that silly phrase, it will help you remember the steps to order of operation. P is parentheses, or all grouping symbols, and that's what you would do first. Next would be exponents. In 5th grade, you don't really need to worry too much about these, but later on in 6th grade, you will. Multiplication or division, whichever comes first from left to right. This little blue thing here is to help you remember that it's multiplication or division, whichever comes first from left to right. And then addition or subtraction, whichever comes first from left to right. So you can see we have parentheses, exponents, multiplication or division, whichever comes first from left to right, addition or subtraction, whichever comes first from left to right. And these are the order of operations. Now let's put them into practice. Here is a problem, and we are going to solve it using PEMDAS. So I like to make myself a little checklist on the side just to remind myself of the steps. Now, in this problem, there are no parentheses, so we don't need to worry about that, and we don't need to worry about exponents. And also, there's no multiplication or division. So if we follow the order of operations, we can see that it's addition or subtraction, whichever comes first from left to right. The first thing that I see when I look at this problem is I see 14 minus 6. So I'm going to solve that and get 8, and then I'm going to think about my next step, which is 8 plus 5, I'm going to solve that, and my answer is going to be 13. So then I'm going to go back and fill in my equation. Now, I want us to look at the next problem. It has the same digits, but this time there's parentheses involved, so I'm wondering if that's going to change the outcome of our answer. So let's try solving this problem. Again, I'm going to make my PEMDAS checklist. And I'm going to start this time with parentheses because I see that there are parentheses or grouping symbols. So I'm going to start with 6 plus 5, and I'm going to get 11. And now I have the problem 14 minus 11. There were no exponents, no multiplication, no division, there's no more addition, so I'm down to subtraction. 14 minus 11 is 3. That's really interesting. That gave me a completely different answer just by putting those parentheses in. And that's sort of the point of this whole lesson, is understanding how grouping symbols like parentheses can impact how you go about solving the problem and why we need order of operations. Let's try another. 7 plus 4 times 9. I'm going to start with my PEMDAS checklist. And there's no parentheses, there's no exponents, there is multiplication or division. I see multiplication, so I'm going to start with 4 times 9, which is 36, and then I'm going to do 7 plus 36, because addition comes next. 7 plus 36 is 43. So my final answer is 43. Now in this next problem, I see that the digits are the same, but I'm wondering if things are going to be different because I'm not starting with 4 times 9, I'm going to start with what's in the parentheses. I see that there's parentheses, 7 plus 4. That's going to be 11. So I'm going to check that off. There's no exponents. Next comes multiplication. Well, I have 11 times 9, which is 99. So that is my final answer, 99. As you can see, there's a big difference between this problem, where there's no grouping symbols, and this problem where there are. It changed the outcome and it changed our solution. But in both cases, we practiced following the order of operations. So grouping symbols can really make a difference in how you go about solving. Let's return to the original problem that we started with. And when we were solving that problem, we said, I think the answer is either going to be 42 or 22. And I'm wondering, now that I know about order of operations, which one is correct? Which way should we have solved? So we want to remember, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And if we think about what that means, there are no parentheses, there are no exponents. But it tells us that multiplication or division, whichever comes first from left to right, should be next. And that means that we should solve 3 times 6 and get 18. And now when I copy the problem, I have 4 plus 18, and next would be adding, and 4 plus 18 is 22. So the correct answer to that original problem was 22, and that's because that's how you would need to solve when using order of operations. Thanks so much for watching. I hope that you learned a lot about what the order of operations is and how grouping symbols in the order of operations might impact how you solve problems with multiple operations.